Hi, this is Nathan. Welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Oh, hi there. Welcome to the pod. I'm Dylan James Weaver, but most folks around here just call me Dylan. Why don't you get the whole family together and join us for another exciting episode of the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. Hello and welcome to the Wad Fam Chalk Pod. I'm Dylan Weaver.
And I'm Andrew Sabo.
And we're here talking about episode 203, Double Trouble.
The one main staple of your life that hasn't been turned upside down. The Wad Fam Chalk Pod.
Yes.
When you are laying in bed at night and you wonder, where is the world going? Just know that the Chalk Pod will be there.
Whatever you saying. Who knows if we'll be here? We're here currently, and that's something.
I definitely don't have a health disease that will make me way more susceptible to the virus.
Thanks for making things real, buddy.
Yeah, this could be fun. Coming to you live from a hospital room. Well, I can make it happen.
I know. What a world we live in. This episode could not be further from what we are currently experiencing. So
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, nice distraction.
It's written and directed by Mr. Paul McCusker. Mm-hmm. It first aired August 29th of 1992, putting it over a year after A Rathbone of Contention.
Mm-hmm. Thank God.
It's episode 3 on album 15, A Place of Wonder.
Yeah, this is an episode that I've listened to many times. I have a lot of memories listening to this one. I think I had it. I don't know exactly how I heard it so many times, because I don't think I had it on CD. I think I may have had it on cassette. Do we have any new actors this episode?
No, not really.
Okay.
But we've got new people in old people in new roles.
Okay.
Because we've got Earl Bowen here as Edwin Blackgaard.
Mm-hmm.
We've got Phil Waller as Dale Jacobs.
Okay. Who's Shakespeare?
Shakespeare is Corey Burton.
Okay, that makes sense.
Crying
Brian
Dern. He's playing Shakespeare. Miss Minion, who is the secretary for Edwin and Shakespeare, is voiced by Elizabeth McCusker, who I assume is related to Paul, but the wiki does not specify.
Interesting.
And then we've got Donald Long as Jack Davis, Jenny Malone as Lucy Schultz.
Yeah, pretty standard. I think we roll the promo now, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you're down to roll the promo,
I'm ready. I'm loose.
Andrew's loose, guys.
Coming up on Adventures in Odyssey.
Presenting the renowned actor of this or any other age,
Shakespeare?
Mr. R.E. Blackgaard.
Blackgaard wouldn't dare come back to Odyssey after all he did.
Alas, poor Yorich.
That was beautiful. It's a drama you won't want to miss.
Thank you.
On the next Adventure in Odyssey.
What a long outro.
Yes, sir.
I looked down at the promo and it had another third of it left, and they were already winding it down. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, no, that's what happens with every promo, buddy.
Not all of them, though. Sometimes they fit the timestamp better.
Barely ever.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, so basically, if you haven't gathered already, this whole episode is basically based around the idea that R.E. Blackgaard is back in town.
Stupidest thing.
And so the episode begins with Lucy showing up to the Harlequin dinner theater to interview it because it's it's a new business.
Well,
at this point? Or it's under new ownership.
She goes to interview Mr. Flynn, who's selling the theater.
Yeah.
Shows up, and Shakespeare reveals that the theater has already been sold. Mm-hmm. Mr. Flynn is in Florida, but if she wants to interview the new owner, come right this way.
Yeah. And then she is introduced to Blackgaard, which the Shakespeare and Blackgaard dynamic is special. Like, he's basically Igor, kind of.
Oh, see, you want Igor. I was going to say he's Lafau.
Okay, yeah.
Like, he's the Lafau to the Gaston?
Yeah. I definitely feel that. Yeah, okay, I think you're more right. I think that's definitely more accurate, where he just kind of, like, talks him up and stuff like that, but Igor, he definitely, like, does his bidding, pretty much.
Yeah, I think the difference is that with Gaston and Lafau is a fool, and Gaston's a jerk.
Yeah.
In this, Shakespeare's not really a fool.
No.
In some ways, Blackgaard's the fool.
Yeah.
Like, Edwin's maybe the worst of the two, but...
No,
anyways.
He's definitely the most...
But I don't know. I don't understand what Shakespeare's motivations are.
No. Maybe he's, like, eternally indebted to him or something like that.
Maybe.
I thought that maybe they were lovers. I have that in my notes. Because he calls him his companion, and I'm like, man, that's awfully close to homosexual Adventures in Odyssey. I am surprised.
It's Doctor Who. They're just doing a Doctor Who thing.
It's a companion situation. Okay.
It's very British.
Very British of you. How European of you, focus on the family. Well done.
Shakespeare insists upon referring to him as R.E. Blackgaard throughout this episode, just so we can keep it up in the air about whether or not he's actually Regis. Spoiler, he isn't. Double spoiler, he will never again be referred to as R.E. Blackgaard.
Yeah.
It was just for this, so this episode could kind of have a reveal.
Yeah.
And I'm curious about the people who are listening through this their first time.
Yeah.
If any of you people have not listened, had not listened to Odyssey up to this point, and we're listening to this, what is your impression of what's happening here? Because for me, I'm like, why is it taking so long for them to, why are they holding out so long on this reveal that it's Edwin? We get it.
Yeah.
But maybe if you're listening for the first time, it's like, whoa, Edwin.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought for sure this R.E. Blackgaard was Regis, because he's been referred to as R.E. in the past. Why not just have them call him Edwin and everyone still think that this is some plot?
Yeah.
Because the name doesn't matter.
No, as long as the last name's Blackgaard, it really doesn't matter.
And
presumably they look similar.
I was going to say, he looks exactly like Blackgaard.
They're twins. This is literally the evil twin bit.
Oh, yeah, he's the good twin.
Yeah. Blackgaard's the evil twin. He's the hooded Kermit in this situation.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Making it relatable for the kids.
Yeah, I have seen no Muppets.
Oh. You don't know the hooded Kermit meme where there's Kermit and then looking at Kermit with a hood on? You've never... Wow.
I'm sorry.
Well, that was for the squad then. They understand.
Okay. But yeah, so Lucy runs away screaming. Which is great.
I mean, she's a child. It definitely makes sense for that to be her reaction.
Oh, absolutely, especially considering how traumatic Blackgaard stuff is.
Well, and her being because he gets introduced and she freaks out and leaves, and does she say why don't you call me?
That's
Lucy?
later.
Oh, that's later. Yeah. He's basically, I mean, obviously he doesn't know everything that happened, so he's being very friendly, and she's
Right. And his friendliness is creepy.
Yeah. A member
Like-
of the press.
Yes. Like, that's definitely how she's interpreting it, at least.
As much of a trope as Blackgaard is, or I suppose Edwin Blackgaard is, I really like him as a character. I think he's funny. I enjoy, and the dynamic between him and Shakespeare, I think, is actually very funny.
Oh, yeah. Going forward, he is only going to be called Edwin.
Yeah.
Let's make this very clear.
Yeah.
Blackgaard is way too loaded.
Yep.
And it's Edwin.
It's Edwin.
It's Edwin.
We're doing it more for him than we are for us, you know?
Yeah. So Lucy shows up at Wit's End, and Connie's like, you look like you've just seen and then Lucy walks past, so Connie doesn't have to say ghost on a Focus on the Family production.
Yeah, that's not real.
But I do like it, because she kind of has.
Yeah.
Even though he's not dead.
Yeah.
But imagine how much more impactful this would be if Blackgaard was dead. Why are you staring at me like that?
That was a joke, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I can laugh.
So
it's Lucy, and then it's Wit and Connie at Wit's End, and
Yep.
they're talking about basically Blackgaard being back in town,
yeah, Lucy kind of fills them in.
and then Connie is the worst.
Yep.
This is a terrible Connie episode.
so bad.
Even with the voice of reason with Wit being there, like, she just...
Connie's horrible. It's not a great Lucy episode. It's
She's better than Connie.
She is.
It's
But
a
the
good
writing
Wit
of-
episode, though.
It is. I just have an issue. The writing of both female characters is fairly poor.
Yeah.
And that's really annoying. Especially because, like, we already had the Maxwell episode.
Yeah.
Which does a lot of similar things to this.
Pretty much the exact same thing.
And Lucy and Connie are both pretty good in that episode. Borderline great on Lucy's part, and Connie's solid enough.
Yeah.
And then we have this episode where Connie is horrible.
The worst.
And-
Basically, her whole
Yeah.
thing is like, how could he come back here? Like, how dare you show your face after everything you've done? And Wit's kind of response is like, well, I mean, he's been very good about covering his tracks. We really have no actual dirt on him specifically.
Right. I mean, the other thing Connie does here is it fills all the listeners in on everything that Blackgaard
like he
has
burned
done.
down Tom's barn, and
And he blew up Wit's End.
he blew up the imagination station.
And not to mention the stuff in Chicago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good recap. And
Expositional
then
dialogue.
Wit's
is
like,
expositional.
you can't prove anything.
Yeah, I mean, we can't really. I mean, we don't really have any concrete proof. Which, okay, Wit, if you wanted to, literally, we've covered like 3 episodes where Wit's just like, I need concrete proof, and then he just gets it. Like,
I mean,
we don't have it. I'm gonna go get it, and then he does.
That's true.
It-
Maybe Wit's the actual villain because he could have brought down Blackgaard, but chose not to.
Oh, hot take. Hot take.
The dumbest of hot takes. So yeah, then Jack shows up. Mm-hmm. He's trying to direct a play in the little theater, and he's mad about it.
Yeah, because the kids don't know their lines or something.
And he just wishes that he could act with professionals.
Yeah. Which, is Jack, like, a really good actor? I'm under the impression he's not.
No,
Yeah.
I mean, he's a high schooler.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah, he can drive at this point.
Yeah.
Because
Because he's a pizza delivery
he's
guy.
a pizza delivery guy. How old is Lucy?
Middle school, I think.
Yeah, they get married.
Wait, in real life or on the show?
Both?
Oh, I forgot about that. Wow. Wait, when did they get married on the show?
Album 50.
What?
Spoilers.
So he's like 4 years older than her at least.
Yeah, which isn't that crazy.
No.
Considering by album 50, they're like both like
In their
out
20s.
of college. Like it's yeah.
24, 28 situation here.
Right. Yeah. Something like that. 22, 26 maybe.
And you know, Lucy's always been mature for her age.
She has. She is currently interning at a newspaper despite being in middle school.
Yep. Yeah. I guess it's a small town. It's all about who you know. It's all about connections.
Hey, I mean, maybe she's a freshman at this point. Who knows?
Well, and you know, maybe she gets some editorial swing and like it's
Yeah. Dale Jacobs is a nice guy.
He's a sweetie. We like him.
Yeah, we do. He's pretty good in this episode.
Yeah.
So then
That's when
Shakespeare and Edwin show up.
Yeah.
And Shakespeare does his whole like fanfare of announcing Edwin's arrival.
And doesn't he clap?
Probably.
Which I love. I think it's
I
Star
imagine
of
him
La-
like literally rolling out a red carpet.
Yeah, and like having like one of those like long skinny trumpet things.
Yes.
Yeah. Shakespeare. And then he calls. Yeah, this is when I have him in my note as Blackgaard, and I'm so sorry.
Aww.
This is when Edwin refers to Shakespeare as his companion, and that's where I was like, maybe. I wonder.
So yeah, he's trying to hire people for his upcoming plays.
Mm-hmm. He wants to hang up a poster, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Whit explains that he doesn't allow advertisements. Whit's coming across skeptically.
Hold up. Advertisements.
Does he say advertisements?
Both of them do.
Oh.
And needed to mention that because hearing Whit say advertisements was very uncomfortable.
I assume it can be pronounced both ways, but
Oh, I'm sure it can, but ooh, don't like it. It'd feel icky saying it.
yeah.
So what were you saying? He's hanging up the poster because he's doing like a free event in the park, right? He's
Well,
performing
so
Hamlet
yeah,
at the
he's
gazebo.
doing auditions, and then he's gonna do a performance at the park,
Yeah.
for free. And so Jack's pretty excited about this whole thing. Whit's playing skeptical but nice.
Yeah.
And then Connie shows up.
And Connie is the worst.
Connie walks down the stairs, shows up, sees Blackgaard there, and just yells repeatedly at him while Whit tries to calm her down, and Connie completely ignores her, and it is
So terrible. It's like, how could you show your face here? All this stuff, like, basically just verbally assaulting him, and then he leaves, and then Whit kind of responds, and he's like, Connie, like, there was a bunch of ways that you could have handled that, and that was the exact wrong way.
Yeah.
I don't know what the exact quote is.
Yeah, he
I don't know if do you
basically
have it?
no, I don't. But he tells her off for like not being civil.
Yeah, he was like, that was like incredibly uncool, which it was very interesting because like that's a pretty harsh reprimand for Whit.
It was
like, for him to be like,
"Yep,
you are a dummy.
yes,
You did a dumb thing, you dummy."
yep."
Because like basically this the whole arc of this episode is like like, you know, Edwin's in town, everybody thinks that he's Blackgaard, and Whit is willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because
No one else is,
and nobody else is,
because Whit's a good person.
Yeah, and
no
Whit's
one
a good
else
person.
is.
And Jack is only willing to give him the benefit of the doubt because, one, he wasn't directly hurt, and two, he wants to be an actor.
Jack doesn't even seem to like know who Regis
No,
Blackgaard
he's
is,
just there, which
is-
makes me wonder why the heck any like his character even matters in this episode.
They're clearly, I mean, they just wanted some, like, they seem to introduce this whole acting thing with him to try and like give them a link, and I kind of think it gets built off of in the future.
I'm not entirely sure myself. And maybe they use Jack to kind of expose, because the whole thing with you know, Edwin is that Odyssey is like this small town, it's fairly uncultured, and he's like, you know, lived in Europe and traveled and is like, you know, super posh and smart and talented, and he wants to bring the arts and the culture to small town, you know, Odyssey.
You know, as everyone does. It's the hub of the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's the center of the universe. All existing in unknown universes.
Yeah. So we then go to, after this horrible scene with Connie, we go to Dale Jacobs, who is talking with Lucy about, like, he's like, look, like you turned in an incomplete article, but like I get it. Stuff with Blackgaard was traumatic for you, and it's okay. I'll go over there and I'll do it. Like I'll talk to Blackgaard, Edwin, and then Lucy just starts talking over him and kind of makes her mind up that she's gonna go to do it as well, kind of face her fears, and he's
professional,
right? Whereas Dale's being very much like, hey, like you don't need to do this, like it's okay, like we'll cover it, like I get it that you've been through a lot, I don't want to like open those wounds, and Lucy just talks right over him, which was really unfortunate, having back-to-back scenes wherein a woman just talks and kind of goes on a rant, and there's a guy trying to talk to her and like unable to. It's just like an unfortunate trope that is used in back-to-back scenes.
Yeah, and I think it's used a lot in Odyssey.
I mean, it makes sense in an audio show. You want to get people's thoughts out loud.
Yeah.
You want to show them making a decision internally, but you have to do it externally. So like I understand why it's used. It just doesn't look good here.
Yeah, it's well, and especially because when she does go there, she kind of has this like very jaded approach to it, where it's like, I'm just here to do my job. I don't actually like you. I'm not going to pretend I like you. Right. You know, I don't need to be civil.
Drugging me.
I'm just going to, yeah. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Like I'm just here to, you know, punch in and punch out, basically. Yeah. And everything else is kind of screw you. You're a bad person.
Yep. We then jump to
Blackgaard and Edwin and Shakespeare. I'm sorry.
You're fine. And they're kind of recapping how poorly everything's been going.
Yeah.
How Tom
tore up the
poster right in front of him, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And
in character for Tom.
Yeah, and Edwin's, especially at this point, and Edwin's starting to come to like this realization of like, I think I know what's going on, but also I can't say it so that it can be a reveal in a minute.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I hated that part of this episode where it's just like, it's not helping anything.
Right. Well, and the fact that he only ever refers to himself as R.E. Blackgaard, and everyone else only refers to him as Blackgaard.
Or Dr. Blackgaard.
Anyone had said Edwin or Doctor only happens in the next scene.
Yeah, with Lucy.
But in front of him, if anybody had said Edwin or Regis, it all would have been cleared up immediately. But we have to have a sitcom plot in which, like, it keeps not being addressed, and then things come to a head. But it's done in a way that is really inelegant, and it bothers me.
As a counseling major, I say, address your feelings. They don't go away without you acknowledging them and validating them. Thank you for listening.
And that's what this podcast is about. Me acknowledging my feelings about this show. And so... But they go then, and Shakespeare's got this whole... or Edwin's got this whole thing where he's like ranting about like him like kind of putting the pieces together, but he won't actually say it. He's like, I think it might be the unspeakable Shakespeare. And Shakespeare's got this great line of all, he's like, well, if you don't speak the unspeakable, sir, then I won't know what you're not speaking in regards to.
Yeah.
Which is...
It just calls him out on his nonsense.
Yeah. But it's a weird thing. I don't understand why Shakespeare's always calling Edwin sir.
Yeah.
It's bizarre. Their whole dynamic is weird. Like, maybe they've got some sort of dom-sub thing going on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I mean, it's a kink for sure. This is definitely some deep role play.
Oh, man.
Well, and there's also the other thing that I love about this scene is, like, he gets back and and Edwin's so distraught. He's like, Shakespeare, make me a lemonade.
Yes.
And there's, like, the ice clinking around in the glass. And I'm like, they're just drinking lemonade because they can't actually drink in Odyssey.
Right. No, lemonade is, like, their thing.
Yeah. And they're like, oh.
Yeah.
I love that.
And I don't know what's in that lemonade.
Could be anything. Is this like, if he's making him a lemonade, I'm presuming this is like Crystal Light mix, like this is a powdered mix.
Yeah.
Which is such a shame.
Just lemonade mix in vodka.
Could be. This. He's lubricating.
It wasn't drugged, but it was spiked.
Yeah. There you go. That's how he did it.
So then Lucy shows up. We get Mrs. Minion on the phone.
Yeah.
Saying that Lucy Schultz is here to see you.
Yeah.
Notably not Lucy Cunningham Schultz, just Lucy Schultz.
Jinx, you owe me a soda or a lemonade.
You copied me.
What? We said the same thing at the same time. That's how Jinx works.
But I was already saying the sentence, and you just talked over top of it.
Callback.
It wasn't.
Not really a callback.
This is dumb.
This is dumb. Continue.
Anyways, I'll maybe link in the show notes to a write up on the AO wiki about the whole Cunningham thing. But
what?
Yeah,
is that a thing where like
her last name is really unclear? Because in the only reason I even brought it up here is she's referred to as the Cunningham girl in our previous Blackgaard episode. I believe in one of the battle episodes when she's in the hospital.
Yeah.
Whereas now they're calling her Lucy Schultz.
Yeah.
And it is...
Maybe her parents got divorced and then got back together? Because a hyphenated situation makes me think of, like, you didn't take their last name, Cunningham Schultz.
There's a thing... I don't know. The show kind of addresses it at certain points, but also tries to sweep it under the rug. It's just a goof. But
if you write on the show,
it's a
tweet
weird
at
goof.
us.
No, I mean they have gone way out and about to address it. There's
really?
a chapter in this book about it.
Okay.
There's just not a good answer.
Dang, that's deeply unfortunate.
So,
yeah. So she's.
I think they just literally forgot they gave her a last name the one time.
Of course. And
then they've just been working back from that.
Yeah. That's some Game of Thrones stuff right there. That's a joke for only Brendan. So basically, Edwin doesn't want to meet with Lucy because she obviously ran out and he's like, I'm done. I've had a terrible day. Let me just drink my spiked lemonade in peace. And then Shakespeare's like, well, now is a great time to clear up whatever misconception there is about you with the press. We can have a good thing, use it as kind of a springboard for everything that we're doing here. We should do that. And then Edwin's like, well, that's a good idea. And he has the quote that I like because it hits a little close to home for me. And it says, you do have your moments. They're decades apart, but you do have your moments. And just hit home for my life a little bit there. Yeah. But yeah, so, and that's when Lucy kind of comes in. They have their interview. Lucy's super jaded and I'm just here as a reporter. I'm going to be a professional and whatever. Yeah. He offers her a lemonade and he offers him his lemonade and Shakespeare's like, no, I'll just make her one. And then she's like, is it spiked? And he's like, no.
Is it drugged?
Oh, yeah, is it drugged?
Spiked was our joke.
Yeah.
And then, so Edwin's finally just kind of like, all right, I think I know what's going on here, so let me explain it all now, because I couldn't do it before now, even though I figured this out a month ago.
And I definitely could have.
So she calls him Dr. Blackgaard, and
yeah.
he's like, oh, well, I think you've got me mistaken for my brother. I'm Ronald Edwin Blackgaard. I go by Edwin so as not to be confused with Ronald McDonald.
Yeah.
Edwin is Regis is my twin brother.
Yep. And that's the whole thing. Yeah. Basically, bad Blackgaard is good Blackgaard's twin brother.
Yep. And they had, so the whole situation here is that Adventures in Odyssey, the writing team wanted to bring in Earl Bowen again. Mm-hmm. They really liked him, and they were like, well, like, we're going to bring back Blackgaard at some point. Now's not the time. And we want to give, kind of bring Bowen into this world and make him, one of our, more standard players. And so they instead
do the evil twin thing.
Yeah, except it's a good twin.
Yeah.
He's a, by their account in the book, which was nice to have that confirmation, but he is a purposefully bad actor. They refer to him as a hammy and harmless thespian, which I like a lot.
Harmless thespian, new band name, I call it.
All right, and I'll be hammy thespian. He's their Edwin and Shakespeare are loosely based off of Edmund Blackadder and his servant Baldric from a British sitcom called Blackadder that ran from 1983 to 2000.
Oh,
so
wow!
And Paul McCusker's summary of the character when he was pitching it to Earl Bowen is Edwin thinks he's the world's greatest actor, but he's probably the world's worst.
Yeah, that checks out. Well, there is the kind of like, I mean, everybody knows a guy that's like Edwin, where like they think that they're really, really great, and because they've done like some kind of things,
right?
Like the people that like, oh yeah, I played professional sports, but it was like in Europe in a nothing country and like a minor league, and I also worked at a pizza shop. Like, yeah, okay, you did play professional soccer, great, good for you, but also
or like that person who was like one time a guest on a decent podcast, but otherwise just is on their own show talking about Adventures in Odyssey every week.
Exactly, like one time. I mean, 2 times though, because like you were on the Andrew Sabo podcast. So
hey, I wasn't gonna name names.
That's the entire premise of this show, is that we name names.
Is it?
Well, sometimes.
Name actors for sure. So yeah, Lucy leaves, goes back to Wit's End, fills in Connie and Whit on what's going on.
Whit believes him, Connor's a jerk.
Yep, exactly.
Jack's like, I don't care, I just want to be an actor.
Yep. And Connie's at a point then where she's like, hey, look, even if he is
Regis's brother,
like, even if he is a brother, he's a brother to a bad person. And Whit's like, whoa, don't go down that road.
Yeah, he's like, we're gonna have a serious conversation if you're about to say that, we shouldn't trust him because he's his brother. We have to judge, we have to take people on their own merits and actions.
Yep.
I'm like, wow, Whit, that's awfully accepting. Where was this in Novacom? That would have been nice.
Yeah. Nope. No. Well, no.
This is a really good Whit episode.
It is.
This is like, one of the better ones.
Yep.
And
he's a good one this time.
Yeah, so then it goes to basically Edwin and Shakespeare's event in the park. Jack shows up right before it starts in his pizza costume because he's a delivery for Mr.
Costume.
No, it's his
uniform, buddy.
It's his but he has a hat, which presumably is a pizza pie. In my head, it's a pizza pie.
I think it's probably just a baseball cap.
Yeah, but there's definitely
I'm just
a pizza
picturing Jack
on it.
as the dude from Home Alone who crashes his pizza car into the statue every time.
I was thinking of Tobey Maguire and Spider-Man being like, pizza time!
But yeah, that's the...
What an odd job to be such a trope in cinema. Pizza delivery.
Someone's got to do it, and it's always teenagers who just got their licenses.
Yeah, that is true. That is also true. Or, like, concerningly old people where you're like, buddy.
In movies, though?
No, in real life.
We're talking about movie tropes, Andrew.
That's true.
So yeah, we find out Jack was the only one who auditioned. And Edwin's got like this very Shakespearean outfit on, and Shakespeare says, if Hamlet were alive today, he'd die at the sight of you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real good. Like I said, I love the Edwin Shakespeare dynamic. It's super I don't know. It's just really funny. We even went past the whole like Shakespeare the door.
Yeah, it does get exhausting though.
I mean, it's like the "Don't Call Me Pop" thing.
Yes, Shakespeare just bossing, or Edwin just bossing Shakespeare around is really weird. It's also crazy that they don't establish what his first name is in this episode.
Do they ever?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Walter.
Oh.
But they do not
Nope.
in this one. So it's just a weird thing where he's got a sidekick who's named after the playwright.
Yeah.
Who he's like gonna be like, who's his idol. Like,
Yeah.
it's weird.
Is Shakespeare a nickname or is that his last name?
It's his last name.
I guess so.
It can happen.
I guess.
Yeah. So Whit's the only one who shows up to the show.
Yeah.
Then he leaves. We cut away before any real acting can happen.
Yep.
And then we go to Whit's End, where Connie and Whit are talking. Connie's like, I hope you're not mad at me for not going to that thing today. And Whit's like, well, I'd have to be mad at the whole town as well. So no, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
It's like,
I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
Love that line.
Such a good dad figure.
Oh, so good.
So Connie leaves, and then banging on the door is Edwin Blackgaard.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I need your advice.
Mm-hmm.
And Whit's like, well, nothing I can really do here.
Yeah.
It's so odd.
Yeah, it's basically like, I need help, and Whit's like, this is when you'd expect Whit to be like, this is exactly what you do, and then it works, and then it's great. And Whit's like, I don't really know.
Yeah, no, you've gotta earn the trust of the town somehow, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
This is where I was like, because I do not have memory of this episode really, and I was like, all right, so he's going to get Blackgaard to do something at the little theater, work with the kids, kind of earn everybody's trust that way, because Whit's got influence over the
Using
town.
that leverage.
So like he's gonna kind of risk himself to try and, get Blackgaard his name back. And
Nope.
no,
He's just like, nope. I don't know what you're gonna do, but I want to be friends with you.
yep.
And that's when we get the line, like, I've always longed to shake hands with a Blackgaard. I've always longed to shake the hand of a Blackgaard in friendship. Which I was like, no.
That's such a weird line.
Yeah, it is very weird.
I've always longed to shake the hand of a Blackgaard in friendship. It was like,
You shake it in anger?
also, like, you and Blackgaard kind of started off on half good terms.
Yeah, you were like,
You
kinda
invited him
chummy.
over for drinks at your house.
Oh, that's right. He did do that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So I don't know why.
Definitely lemonade.
Right. So it's funny, actually, as a writer into the show pointed out, it was probably just a milkshake at Whit's End.
Yeah.
But whatever. That's in the past. So yeah, it's so odd. Mm-hmm. It just feels forced.
It feels
It
anticlimactic.
feels like this isn't something that Whit actually feels. It's just a moment they wanted the show to have.
Yeah.
But
Well, because it's like, it's already established that Whit and him are friends.
right.
Like, that's already established. Whereas, like, and this is just them kind of beating that home really to no avail.
Yes.
And then the next scene is Whit and Connie, and then Whit being like, here, Regis Blackgaard was in Venice, and Edwin Blackgaard is here, and he can't be in two places at once, because he did something for, like...
You want? I've got all the notes.
Okay,
for this.
go for it.
So Whit, after getting home that night, opened up his mail to see a copy of the International Computer Newsletter.
Of course.
And there was an article on page 7 where Blackgaard was in Vienna the day prior.
I thought it was Venice.
Vienna.
That makes more sense.
And announced a project to consolidate computer languages.
That's not real. Is that a thing? Are there multiple? I mean, there's code. There's different coding language.
That's exactly what he's talking about. And
Okay.
there are a boatload of
Okay.
computer languages. So, yeah. I don't understand who Regis Blackgaard is in the world.
Yeah, exactly. One, how, what, this guy isn't just, like, the head of, like, the criminal underbelly. He's clearly has some, like, scientific, actual real-world power.
He has his doctorate in child psychology.
Yeah. Maybe he has more than one doctorate.
And he used that to open a business in Odyssey, then go to Chicago and try to steal a government computer to profit.
Yeah.
And is now in Vienna on some sort of international committee that is working with computer languages.
Well, here's the thing. He's Wit's foil. So, like, all the ways that Wit does not make any sense as far as what he does in the world, Blackgaard's just the same.
Yeah.
But bad.
You're absolutely right. Dang it. Guys, Andrew's right.
I have my moments. They're decades apart, but I have my moments.
And so, yeah, Connie gets schooled by Fax.
Yep.
And then Wit hangs the article in the front window.
Okay. That's what doesn't... I'm confused as to why he hangs that article in the window.
So that everyone who comes by will see proof that Edwin is not Regis.
Yeah, but it would have to be next to an article of, like, same day. That's what I'm saying, where it's like, otherwise it's just like, this bad person did a thing, and he did it then. They would have to put the two together.
You're right.
He's
Wit just now has a thing in his window that's like Regis Blackgaard does a good thing, and that's what people are seeing.
Well, my thought was, is he hanging the article or is he hanging the poster?
No, he's hanging the article.
Yeah. I was really hoping he was hanging the poster because that makes sense.
Pretty sure. Hanging the poster that Edwin put up?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure he's hanging up the article. But it's this thing, again, that I really hate in this world. Which is, in addition to, like, they figured all of this stuff out and, like, had conversations and, like, Wit knows that he's a good guy, but Wit doesn't have to work to win other people over. Instead, there's just empirical truth placed in front of it, and so you don't have to have faith. You can just look at this thing that proves it. And it's really emblematic of a lot of things in Odyssey, and it's really frustrating to me. I mean, it's kind of the conceit of, like, all of the Truth Chronicles stuff as well, and it's just this thing of, like, yeah, but, like, what about faith, people? Yeah. What about, like, believing that he is the person he says he is and trusting him because that's what because that's what you're experiencing as a person, rather than somebody else saying, well, look, here's the fact of the situation. Yeah. He is who he says he is because, like, we have proof. And until that point, you're fine to not believe in him and trust him. Like, Wit says that whole thing to him where he's like, look, like, it's not your fault, Edwin, but you do not have the trust of the people of this town, and I don't know how you're going to get it. Yeah. And then it's like, oh, you get the trust by having this weird independent confirmation that he is, in fact, the person who he says he is, and now there's, like, proof, and so, like, we can't dislike him anymore because there's proof that he is who he says he was.
Well, and then the thing is that, like, I think that what it does is it shifts the blame from the townspeople for being blindly mistrusting to Edwin for, like, being like, I've got to earn their trust. Like, no, I never lost their trust. They just don't know who I actually am. And I did my thing to make sure they know who I actually am. It's in the newspaper. Like, yeah. They are just as, everybody is just as responsible to be like Wit as Wit is.
It's weirdly, it is, I don't know, it weirdly does the thing that Wit calls Connie on earlier. It weirdly, like, justifies it. Yeah. Where Wit's like, look, like, you can't just not trust him because, you know, he's got a brother who's done some bad stuff.
Yeah.
And then Wit tells Blackgaard, tells Edwin, hey, nobody's going to trust you because you've got a brother who does bad stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, wait, here's proof that, like, he's not his brother. But I hate this thing of, like, well, we can't
have a heart change without it being backed by fact.
Right.
And that's, like...
And everyone is totally, like, it's kind of okay that they don't believe him because the fact isn't there.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like it's so anti the spirit of Christ, and Wit does an excellent job of being somebody that has interacted with Blackgaard a lot, been hurt directly by him, and still is like, well, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'll still be a good person here. And like he just kind of like all the townspeople aren't held to the same standard, and they're just allowed to not.
And probably there wasn't this much thought put into it.
No,
it was probably
they want a sitcom wrap up,
right? We
like,
want a wrap up where
roll
like
credits.
The people listening to the show cannot have a suspicion going forward that Edwin is Regis.
Yeah,
and they can't in every scene be thinking, is Edwin Regis? So like we need to prove it to them that he is not, and this is how we're gonna do it. But it just unfortunately works against the episode thematically.
Yeah, and against the
me.
characters and everything. But, yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's where the episode ends.
Yep.
And that's all I have to say about it. Do you have any other closing thoughts?
No, I don't. That's all, folks.
Yeah. Do we have any iTunes reviews or anything like that?
I will check. I think not, but maybe something's come through recently.
Or perhaps an email?
No emails. I do know about those, like when they happen. Now, we don't have a new review. If someone would like to go leave one, that would be cool.
I'd appreciate it.
And otherwise,
good or bad, it will be read on air.
That is true.
Unless you're mine. Mine didn't get read on air.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yes.
But otherwise,
I've got nothing to plug. Are you plugging anything?
No. Wait, did I plug the episode with Carter?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
So we'll be back next week to talk about an episode that I haven't looked up for. So stall for me, Andrew.
Wash your hands for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Cover your mouth when you cough. If you're sick, stay home.
Don't cover it with your hand.
No. Cover it with your elbow. Stay inside and listen to podcasts. Odyssey is great for quarantine.
Yeah. Oh, actually, that's my plug. The AIO Club is currently doing a 4-week free promotion with no credit card required.
Oh, dang.
To help people get through this fun viral time. So go if you want to listen to it. It's literally never been... There's never been a better opportunity to listen to it than now.
Yeah, go for it. And then listen to all of our episodes all the time.
Yep. And we will be back next week with episode 286, Tom for Mayor, Part 1.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Wadfam Chalk Pod is a presentation of the Lidditz Podcast Co-op. This show is a fan podcast and has no official affiliation with Adventures in Odyssey or Focus on the Family. As such, the copyright is ours under Creative Commons. Follow the podcast at wadfamchalkpod on Twitter and Instagram, or email us at wadfamchalkpod@gmail.com. Double Trouble was hosted by Dylan Weaver and Andrew Acebo, and edited by Dylan Weaver. And I'm Nathan Haverstick, hoping you'll join us again next time for more of the Wadfam Chalk Pod.